more than $140 million to help children and families here in America.
What, do we have a buffering issue here? All right, well, I guess we're going to pull the clip, and we're going to try to play it in a moment. I don't understand what's wrong, but hopefully we can get it working in just a second. Meanwhile, there are headlines out there. Rich world may face next downturn with dull weapons. Rich countries may not be able to resharpen their crisis fighting tools fast enough to get them ready for the next downturn. And remember, they're using new terminology. It's not a depression anymore. It's a double dip recession. A double dip recession. Again, speaking to us like children. Hopefully we're going to be able to go back to this clip. But again, let's focus on how he opens it up. American Idol is about changing lives. Yeah, changing Simon Cowell's life from an empty bank account to one of over 500 million. That's the life it has changed. Let's hit it.
Over the years, this program has raised more than $140 million to help children and families here in America and around the world live healthier and happier lives. From fighting malaria in Africa to helping folks in our own communities put food on the table. Every dollar you give makes a difference for those in need.
We want to thank American Idol for the example they're setting and encourage everyone watching to make a contribution. And to this year's finalists, as Randy says, you're all my dogs.
And Simon, be nice.
Thanks, everybody.
Oh, they're so hip. They're so cool. Simon, you be nice. And they're my dogs. They're my dogs. Meanwhile, we are at a financial abyss, and everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. The headlines out here. I got a Fox News headline. Debt commission job is a suicide mission. And who says this? This isn't some pundit. This is the co-chairman of that commission. He's saying it's a suicide mission. He knows we're bankrupt. He knows we have no money. He gets it. And they're slowly but surely telling you, yes, we're bankrupt. We don't have any money. It looks like it's time for the global currency now. SDR units are good. The IMF is trying to figure out a way for banks to pay them back. No, the IMF is part of the problem. They're part of the consolidation of power. They're part of grouping the SEC and the Federal Reserve under global banking dictatorships. IMF to keep mulling how to make banks pay for bailouts. Oh, how can we get the banks to pay back the $700 billion? Oh, wait a minute. It's not really $700 billion. It's 24 plus trillion 6 months ago, probably around 40 or 50 trillion now, folks. The International Monetary Fund pledged on Sunday. Oh, they pledged. They're such good people. They're working in our best interest. I pledge to help the American people. They pledged on Sunday to keep working on plans to make bankers bear the burden of their own bad behavior and not to lose heart over opposition due to their first ideas for a global bank tax. Who's going to be paying the global bank tax? Us, not the bankers. The bankers have given out in the past 2 years record bonuses, one after the other, after they got their bailouts. They're not feeling this crunch. And then they bring it into civil court with Goldman Sachs. Oh, we're going after Goldman Sachs. A couple guys will get a little slap on the wrist, and that's it. It's a joke. It's a bad joke. And here they come, not only saying, hey, we're going to tax the sun, we're going to tax tanning beds, we're going into an economic downturn. Now the Senate is proposing their new climate bill. One of President Barack Obama's top priorities is tackling global warming. But it suffered a severe setback this Saturday when a fight over immigration derailed plans to unveil a compromise climate change bill. And they're probably going to wait for some other kind of crisis, some other big headline in the news to kind of sneak this by the American people, because they realize the majority of us don't want to pay a tax to breathe. Yes, paying a tax to breathe, that's what carbon dioxide is. After I breathe air, carbon dioxide comes out. I guess I should start paying a tax on that. A bipartisan group of senators led by Democrat John Kerry has been aiming to outline details of their climate change bill on Monday. That plan was canceled after Republican Senator Lindsey Graham, a member of the working group, threatened to pull out if Democrats pushed for a debate on an overhaul of immigration before doing the huge environmental and energy legislation. Without Graham on board, efforts to pass climate control legislation could be doomed, as he was expected to work to win more Republicans' support for the bill. Basically, How do you win more Republican support for the bill? Well, since it's not really a right or left issue, a Republican or Democrat issue, it's all about getting special interests to promise to fund their campaigns or give them kickbacks or promise their family members cushy jobs. That's how the system works. They don't care. They are literally setting up a tax on breathing. A tax on the size of your home. A tax on how many cars and children you have. And by the way, we have a story out of China. Apparently, they're talking about possibly repealing the one-child policy in China. Now, why would they do such a thing? Well, they understand this is a strong point for demonization and really realization that it is a military-type police state in China. That communism isn't good, that Mao is not our hero, that they are a pro-eugenic society. Now, does this mean they're really going to drop the one-child policy? No, they're going to ease it into the background and basically popularize examples where they let families have 2 children. Oh, wow, you'll allow me to have 2 children. Meanwhile, Ted Turner says that everybody in the world's got to pledge that 1 or 2 children is it. And he says voluntarily, but he by no means that it should be voluntary. He's the president of the United Nations Foundation. He is pro-population control. He's the eugenics king, the guy who owns more landmass than any other person in the world, and he's going to tell me how many children I can have. And when you read this is out of the Associated Press, off the bat, they're demonizing these guys for having more than 1 child. When asked why she and her husband don't want a second child, I can't even pronounce it, smiles at her pudgy 9-year-old son and does a quick tally of the family budget. Her salary as a cleaning lady and the income for a mahjong parlor in the spare room barely covers their son's school fees and other expenses. See, they can't afford to send their son to school. They can't afford to feed them in their slave labor conditions, so they're not allowed to have more children. With just 1, we can give him nicer things. But if we tried to split that, we have between 2 or 3, they would end up with nothing, the 34-year-old says in her home of Daifeng. And that is the plan for the United States of America. Begin to bankrupt the populace in a manner where you can demonize them for having children. And there are already so many examples of those people out there that don't want to work, that want to live off the state, that do have a bunch of kids, that they rally all these other people that do work, that pay all these taxes and say, See, these people are the reason that you're paying higher taxes. No, they're not the reason. They're a very small portion of the taxes that you're paying. The reason is that out-of-control banksters have decided to tax everything under the sun and including the sun. Let me repeat that. Everything under the sun and now including the sun. That's the idea behind global warming. They don't want to talk about solar flares. They don't want to talk about the earth changing naturally. Yes, that's right. The earth changes. It's a living being. You know, I'm not saying it has a soul, but you got to understand, the earth is a life form. It is a life force. It is constantly changing. And can man have an effect on that? Absolutely. But are we the ones behind this quote-unquote non-existent global warming that the UN now admits has not been going on for the last 10-plus years, as well as glaciers melting that are non-existent? Of course not. We're taking your calls on the other side. It's 888-201-2244. It's the Infowarrior with Jason Bermas.
Hi, this is Alex Jones. Did you know that the global elite are now storing non-hybrid seeds in secret storage vaults near the Arctic Circle? Did you know that in a real meltdown, non-hybrid seeds can become more valuable than silver or gold? It's true, seeds have outperformed even gold and silver before in this country, and it's possible that could even happen again. So our friends at Solutions from Science have put together the perfect mix of non-hybrid seeds. They call it a survival seed bank, and it can produce an endless supply of nutrient-dense food for you and your family. And here's the best part. These seeds have not been genetically modified in any way, and you actually get enough seeds to plant a full-acre crisis garden. So visit them today at survivalseedbank.com. That's survivalseedbank.com, or give them a call at 877-327-0365. That's 877-327-0365. Remember, in a real crisis, non-hybrid seeds are the ultimate barter item. This is Alex Jones for survivalseedbank.com.
They helped to create a new world order.
We are part of a new world order.
A new world order based upon collective action.
Invisible Empire is a damning indictment of the globalists through their own words and documents.
The New World Order really is a tool for addressing a new world of possibilities.
It means all the world under their control.
The United Nations would take over America. The Trilateral Commission would control the world.
Invisible Empire chronicles how men of power and influence have worked in stealth for centuries to establish an oppressive world government.
I believe, first of all, that we now need nothing short of a world constitution for the global financial system.
Global governance with the establishment of the G20.
So it's going to be an inner ruling elite and then everyone else. And I got news for you. You're everyone else.
Invisible Empire. Secure your copy today at Infowars.com or PrisonPlanet.com or watch it online in the highest quality at PrisonPlanet.tv.
Max, what did you do with the remote?